Thank you very much, Dee, for watching this video. But before you skip forward 10 seconds, I just want you to know that you're going to be missing out a whole bunch of stuff. In fact, you're missing the main thing.
We do a weekly podcast, Kermode and Mayo's Take, from which these little tasters are taken, where we review all the week's releases.
Yes, plus also talk about the films that have been there for a while, which you might be going to see right now. We talk about those as well.
And Simon interviews the biggest names from the movies.
And there's a bunch of other stuff. For example, also Ridley Scott's winery. This has not been discussed, but we go there.
So join us by following our podcast wherever you get yours. There is a link below.
Just there. Yes,
just there.
Listen. Eyes on me. Hello, keys. Right. 1 week. Yes, 1 week. Used to must pay for dining out last night on fowl that don't belong to you. Look, you burn my barn. You ate my doves. 1 week will help you contemplate better manners. Better manners!
And that is a clip from Harvest. One of its stars is Harry Melling, who joins us from his summer house or somewhere like that.
Well, it's very bright, isn't it? The windows shine lots of light in, which is fantastic. So yeah,
it looks fabulous. Hello, Harry. How are you?
Very well, thanks. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the show. We appreciate your time. We've spoken about you a lot over the years. Whether it be with Michael Winterbottom or Toby Jones or whoever. You're cropping up a lot. You're in some fascinating films. You're working with some fascinating actors and directors. And here's the latest installment. Introduce us to Harvest. Now, I've seen you do this before, and it's sort of quite difficult. But anyway, maybe it's imminent, and so you can be more expansive. Tell us everything you can about this film.
I've had a bit of practice, so hopefully this is better. So it's about a community in an unspecified place, unspecified time, and they're completely dependent on the land. And over the course of 7 days, their whole way of life just is completely eroded. It's dismantled. And that's really all I can say, because the rest is the film, No,
that's not going to be good enough, is it really? If that's all you can say. Okay, well, let's just dig into what you have just said. Uh-huh. So you say it's an unspecified time and place. So the book, the Jim Crace novel, which came out in 2013, as I recall, is set in England, but this definitely isn't. So this feels to me like it's certainly Scotland. I think you filmed in Argyllshire, and it feels pre-industrial. So it feels like before the Industrial Revolution. Is that about right so far?
Yes, I would say all those influences are very much in there. So we filmed in Oban for the large part of the movie. That's where the village was. So that's why we all thought Scottish accents would be the smart thing to do, because we work with a lot of local people there, and who were very much a part of the movie. They were all local farmers and so forth, and they were integral to finding the language and the feel of this movie. So we knew Scotland was a definite choice. But then, the outfits. Where would you say the outfits? There's a sort of Japanese feel to them with the big robes that go over you, a Roman feel as well. So I think they really wanted to pull from different aspects and different stories to try and make this almost Western.
Yeah, it's sort of almost every film that anyone will have seen that looks a bit like this will come up and it'll say, Oban, 1565. And so we'll know who the king is, where we are in history. Presumably, we don't know that quite deliberately so that we feel slightly discombobulated. Would that be what you're trying to achieve?
I think that's absolutely right. I think Athen was very keen on it feeling like a fable. And I think the second you start to be specific with time zones and even where you are, I think you lose the ability to maneuver into these different places. And I think you're right. The film does have a hypnotic sort of mesmeric quality to it. The tempo, the pacing is very strange and trippy. And hopefully by not specifying where we are, it allows those things to happen. happen.
Now, you mentioned the director there. Have I got this right? It's Athena Rachel Sangari.
That's Athena Rachel Sangari, yeah.
Okay, all right. So maybe one of the reasons she was chosen for this, or she chose this picture, is specifically because she's definitely not Scottish or British. Tell us about working with her, because you worked with the Coen brothers, you've worked with Michael Winterbottom, you've worked with some great people. Tell us about her.
Yeah, she's extraordinary. I think you're right. I think a lot of the reason why she really wants to have a go at it was because she wanted to make a new version of the sort of folk horror thing that seems to be very British. I think she wants to very much find our way of telling this story. And I thought she was extraordinary. And the thing with Athena is you go to her and you say, this scene, I think maybe it should go this way. And often you're going down the most simple route to try and find where the story goes. And she just does not want that on any level. She's all about the richness and the depth of the scene. So often you'll find yourself, and it was challenging in that regard, but you're trying to calibrate all these different things. She wanted the world to be very textured and rich and complex, which I personally loved.
So you play Master Kent. Introduce us to where he fits in this, wherever it is, at whatever time it is. And whoever you are.
And whoever I am. He's kind of stuck between lots of worlds, I think, Master Kent. He's the politician, I'd say, of the village. He has inherited this position from his late wife, and he's kind of stuck between all these different worlds, trying to keep everyone happy. I mean, some would call him a coward in lots of ways. I've had people say that before. He's he doesn't really do much. And I think that is true, but I think he does want to do the right thing, but he's just caught between keeping the villagers happy, keeping this outsider who's very interested in commodity and making money from the village, keeping him happy. So he's kind of this ghost-like figure that sort of hovers through the village, is how I saw it.
Yeah. I mean, you certainly could argue that you're a coward, but you could also argue, as others have, that almost everyone in the film is a coward.
Absolutely. Certainly the men, I think
Yes.
the women are actually quite feisty in lots of ways, but certainly the men are completely... They don't do much, they say they might do something, they don't end up doing it. And I kind of found that fascinating. And I found this position that he always takes, constantly trying to appease people. I thought that was a fascinating angle to try and explore with Kent.
Can we talk a bit about mapping and cartography? Because it's a fairly crucial character. This guy called Earl turns up and he's making a map of the area. And it's almost as though this is the catalyst for everything else that happens. Just can you explain a little bit about what this character does and how it accelerates bad things in the village?
Yes. So Earl is this outsider who comes into the village and without really giving much to the villagers, he starts mapping out and sort of cutting up the land and defining the land into different spaces. And of course, this angers and gets the villagers very nervous because all of this is completely unknown territory, no pun intended for them. And you're very much right. It is the catalyst. And he realizes why he's doing it is because there's another character called Cousin who's coming, and he's interested in making a bit of money from the land. But you're right, it is the catalyst, and all these outside forces invading this land, I think, is very much the reason why everything falls apart.
Yeah. And the locals, they kind of haven't seen a map before. So it looks to our eyes obviously a very primitive map, but it has this kind of seismic impact when people see precisely what's going on. And this village, before the modernity, such as it is, arrives, it feels as though there's a little bit of a kind of an Eden. This is unspoilt. Before the nasty progress merchants, the capitalists, before they came in, everything was fine. Is that fair?
I think that's very fair. I think also what's quite interesting where we find them in the story is that obviously the story is called Harvest. So they're mid-harvest. They're just about to start their harvest and it doesn't go right.